Hello one and all, welcome back to Espresso Coffee Shop. Now, today we're talking about coffee grinders, more specifically the new Eureka MIgnon coffee grinders. Now, there are 3 new models and we're going to go through a detailed review of all these 3 new models. Since they came out, there has been some confusion among clients, which have always asked us what was the difference between these 3 grinders, and that's why we're making this video, to actually show you people what's the real difference between the 3 grinders. Now, let's start with the base model, which is the Silenzio. As you can see, it has some resemblance with the latest model, the Mark II. And in fact, it's an evolution, let's say, of that coffee grinder. Now, as you can see, it has the regulation, which is basically the same that you would find in the old Mark II. You get the timer here, where you can regulate, or you have the manual mode, where you can basically choose yourself how much coffee you want. Now, it does feature some new features, though. You have the ACE technology in this one, which is the anti-clumping system, meaning that when it grinds the coffee, it will come out, the ground coffee will come out uniform without those clumpings that you usually found in the previous model. And of course it has the silent technology, which is one technology that we already saw in other Eureka grinders, but usually there were the Atom or the Zenith grinders, which are professional. Now Eureka has decided to feature this technology in this new coffee grinder. Another feature that we forgot to mention that the Silencio also has is the new hands-free fork. And as you can see here, you can basically proceed with the coffee grinding without having to keep your hand in the portafilter. Now, this is featured also in the Perfetto, which we're gonna talk in depth right now. So now we pass to what we think is the real change in the new Mignons. You can see it visibly through these 2 new screens. These are the Perfetto and the Specialitas. Now, apparently they look the same. There's no big difference. Only the color in this one is actually different, but apart from that, you would say they're basically the same. But in truth, they are quite different from each other. Now, let's start with the Perfetto. Now, the Perfetto has the same 50mm burrs that you find in the Silenzio. However, it does have this screen, which makes the coffee ground regulation much easier than in the Silenzio and in the old Mark II. You will see it here. It's very simple. Now, this is for single doses. You can basically regulate it on how much you want for the single dose, and then there's double. And even here, you can regulate as much as you want. Completely personalizable, completely free. Now, then, if you want the manual mode, you have to click both of the doses, and you will have the time that you really want. You basically click, and it will basically ground how much you want. So click, and then click again. It basically just does as you want, as much as you press. Apart from this new screen, what does it have compared to the Silencio? Well, as you can see here, it has this new easy setting system. What is the easy setting system? Basically, it's a system that allows you to switch easily from the different types of coffee grinding. Now, if you come close, you will see you have the French press, you have the drip, you have the mocha, espresso, or turco. So as you can see, you can pass through different types of coffee grinding depending on the situation. Now, if you want an espresso coffee, you can put espresso. if you have a mocha at home, you can basically just put it in mocha. If you want to French press, you go on and do the French press. So this coffee grinder is definitely the one to go for if you basically have different types, you need different types of coffee regulation. If sometimes you use your semi-automatic machine or sometimes you use the mocha, this is the one to go for. We do want to add that this system is still micrometric. It just allows you to easily pass through different modes. Now we pass to the specialità. Now the specialità has, as you can see, doesn't have that fancy easy setting regulation that you find in the Perfetto, but it does have bigger burrs. It features 55mm burrs instead of 50, so it's more powerful. Another difference is the fork, as you can see. Now, compared to the one that you find in the Perfetto and in the Silencio, you can see that you can regulate. This is called the all-purpose hands-free fork, compared to the normal hands-free fork, meaning that it's still hands-free, as you can see. Yeah, but here you can better regulate up and down compared to the Perfetto and the Silencio, which have just a normal hands-free fork. So here you can regulate depending on the different types of portafilters that you use. So as you can see, this coffee grinder is the one to go for if you need a more powerful coffee grinder, if you're staying always in the same type of coffee grinding. So if you're always going for the semi-automatic machine as a way of making the coffee, and you don't need to switch between the different type of grinding modes. Now, a little comparison between what the old models for the Mark II was and what they have now. Now, as we mentioned before, the new difference mainly between the Silenzio, which is the new base version of the Mignon, and the Mark II was the silent technology and the ACE anti-clamping system. Now, we want to show you just how effective these new improvements are in the new coffee grinder. Now let's start with the ACE system. Now we can visibly see how check this out. As you can see, the coffee grinding has all these clumps. Now if we try a second with the new coffee grinder, look at this, much cleaner, basically no clumps. So this system really makes the difference. Okay, so as you can see, we have some technology here, because as you could hear from before, the silent technology really does play a role. Now let's just try and see how much decibels does the old Mark II produce compared to the new specialità. Now let's go. As you can see, it was between 60 to 61 decibel. Now let's try and see how much you have here. You can easily hear my voice, and it was between 50-51 even there. So we're talking about 10 decibels of difference between the two, which, believe me, it's a lot. So here you have it. These are the 3 new models offered by Eureka for the Mignons. Big improvement compared to the old Mark II. Good job, Eureka. They fitted some professional grinders technology into these more domestic models, and that's why we believe that they are one of the best price quality grinders you can find in the market right now.